I'm in my 20s and suddenly it feels that all my friends are getting married. I'm honestly really happy for them, but there's just this one thing that stresses me out, the Angbaos. Since the start of last year, I've been to a total of 13 weddings, which set me back about $2,000. Over the years, weddings in Singapore have gotten so much more expensive. What's the total budget of the wedding?
It's about 100k.
Wow. In Singapore, there's this expectation that the wedding angbao should cover the cost of your seat. But as wedding costs rise, does this expectation still make sense?
If you ever have a wedding at a 5 or 6 star hotel, that's on you. Max I will give you is $200. The rest is on you, bro.
Last December, a content creator's hot take on wedding angbaos went viral. I want to know why his video seemed to resonate with so many people. What's the most expensive wedding angbao you've given?
For now, it
It was based on the hotel website.
when I checked the rate, I got shocked, you know. It's like inflated by at least 5 times, 10 times.
$88. Just give what you want. You're not obliged to give too much.
I don't agree. I think I checked according to market rate.
Even if it's super expensive.
Super expensive lah. Super expensive. Actually, we will give a reason and say we cannot attend. Because I don't want to reach a situation that I cannot pay.
Like that paise.
Really very paiseh.
Back in the early 2000s, attending a Chinese wedding meant giving an angbao of about $60 to $80. And in the 2010s, the amount has pretty much doubled. Today, that costs have climbed to about $180 to $350 per person. Personally, I think it's kind of sad that we've reached a point where quite a number of people would rather miss a wedding altogether than show up and give an angbao that they can afford. And that makes me wonder, how did this angbao custom of covering your seat even come about in the first place? To find out, I'm meeting Angie Lim from Blissful Brides. Her platform was the first few to publish wedding angbao rate guides online.
It started off with the guests wanting to give the couples like a blessing. It's like a good head start for their married life.
So is this culture of angbao covering the cost unique to Singapore?
In places like US or UK, I think gift registry is quite common. In China, I think angbao is common, but they would actually give the amount according to like how close they are to the couple, instead of like really checking on like the place.
So when did this custom become more prominent in Singapore?
Around 15 years ago. Wedding platforms are getting more popular. Most of the guests, they will just Google and check out what is the pricing per person in that particular venue.
Do you think having wedding angbao guides online would pressure guests to give more than they can afford?
Singaporeans are very practical. So naturally, they would want to help the couples to offset the cost.
Every year, Blissful Brides organises wedding fairs where almost 2,000 couples spend over $6 million on wedding packages. Why are some couples willing to spend so much despite rising costs? This November, 29-year-old Kaiti and Eugene will tie the knot at their dream venue, the 5-star Fullerton Hotel. Hi, wow, your dress is really pretty.
Today I'm here actually for my main gown. The morning one will be like a cheongsam, then the first matching will be like a main big ball gown, and the second one will likely be like a evening gown that is more light and comfy to walk in.
How many dresses have you tried on?
I think, I don't know, more than 20?
More than 30?
I think.
Wow.
Yeah, because you only wear it once in your life. That's why like people take so long to find the one.
If you don't mind me asking, what's the total budget of the wedding?
The total budget for a wedding is about 100k.
Wow.
That includes everything from the wedding jewelry to our suit plus gowns, the photographer, videographer, the makeup, the decor, etc.
Which is the most expensive?
The venue.
Which is around...
60.
Oh wow, that's very expensive.
Our budget started from 60, then jumped to 80, now it's 100.
I see. So next month might be 120?
No. I think we have settled most of our stuff.
And like how many years of savings did that take? I mean 100k is quite a lot, right?
So maybe about 4 years of savings.
What makes it worth it to like spend that amount?
I think
She makes it worth it.
Oh, yeah, that's so sweet.
it's for us as well as spoiling our loved ones. So we picked like a grander venue and try to ensure that the food is good, the whole experience is comfortable and enjoyable for our guests. We look through Instagram, TikTok. A lot of graduated brides have shared their experience. That also make you expect a little bit more and allow you to see more options.
So how much do you think the Angbaos might be able to cover this cost?
From the number of packs we have, maybe around 60k can be covered, I feel. Yeah.
The venue,
You should just cover the venue, I think.
which is about 300 per pax.
I think all their reactions will be too expensive. But in the end, if you invited the correct people and they really love you, they would try to cover.
But it's up to the guests lah, how much they would like to bao for us.
So if there wasn't like an Angbao culture in Singapore, would you guys still spend 100k for your wedding?
I think yes, right? We wouldn't mind spending this amount to get all our loved ones together.
I know I've spent this whole time talking about how expensive wedding Angbaos have become, but to be very honest with y'all, I actually just got engaged this year, which means quite soon I might become part of the problem as I decide on my wedding venue. So I did a bit of research and it seems that restaurants cost about $120 to $180 per pax, and hotels are much more expensive, $160 to $350 plus, which is close to what Kaisi and Eugene's wedding cost. So what makes hotel weddings so expensive? And more importantly, are they actually worth it? Only way to find out. Today I'll be going behind the scenes of a wedding lunch banquet at Shangri-La, one of the most luxurious hotels in Singapore. According to Angbao rate guides, a wedding here can cost up to $3,300 for a table. That's over $300 per guest.
Hi, good morning. Nice to meet you. My name is Chris.
I'm Terese. I'll be assisting in wedding coordinating today.
The wedding couple are having about 230 guests for this wedding today. We will need to run through all the details, make sure that the flowers, the linens and everything are being done. We just need to ensure that the names are facing the guests as we place down the wedding favors. Center, back out, split. I feel that the effect is not there. As the couple walks towards the center, you off the light. Then let them walk speed up.
The bulk of today's weekend brunch package actually goes to this, the food.
So we have 12 chefs to solely operate the Chinese wedding. We can cater up to maybe 1,000.
1,000?
Yes.
How does preparing food in the hotel differ from restaurants?
We are more focused on individual plated version. So everything are well more consistent. More portion control, temperature, quality, presentation. The challenging part is always the timing. When we dish out food to the guests, it has to be maintained hot, then it has to be all executed on time.
And finally, the most anticipated part.
The groom's eldest brother also held his wedding here in Shangri-La. It's pretty common. So you get to hear stories like my parents used to get married here 30 years ago or 40 years ago. So it's like creating a memory for the family tradition.
So what's the most extravagant wedding you've held here?
I would say it was last year. They actually engaged an international R&B artist group to come and perform for 45 minutes during their wedding, and got a 24-piece orchestra to come in to perform as well.
How many guests were there for that wedding?
Estimate around 600.
600?
Yes.
Wow. How much has your hotel's banquet prices increased in the past few years?
I would say that averagely it's about 5 to 10%. Nowadays the couples are expecting more from the hotel industry, the service standard, the food wise. Service staff used to be paid about $10.
Okay.
So now you have to pay them at least $18 per hour in order to stay competitive with other F&B industries. Over the past few years, the ingredients has increased, estimate around 30%.
30%?
Yes, 30%.
Wow. Has the rising cost affected the demand in hotel wedding banquets?
Definitely yes. Couples tend to look for a smaller venue. The number of guests that they want to invite is more intimate. We are very lucky because we have smaller venues to accommodate to the guest demand as well.
Hotel banquet weddings might still be the norm, but lately, these have been popping up on my social media feed. Intimate weddings held in places you wouldn't really expect. They're called micro weddings. seems like the demand for luxury weddings has dropped as couples opt for smaller, more intimate weddings. And honestly, that's my preference too. But when I raised it up to my parents, they were quite surprised because I think what they're used to are more conventional, traditional weddings. For some advice, I reached out to Amanda and Stanley, one of the couples who opted for a micro wedding. I'm meeting them where they held their wedding in 2023. So I've been given coordinates and it's not even a location on the map. Not sure if I'm in the right place because I see like HDBs and then like industrial buildings. Thank you. I think we should go this way. I have a feeling it's like that gated thing over there.
Hi, Terese. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I guess this is where you held your wedding.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at this, it doesn't really seem like much, but this was the place that we got married. Actually, this is a former oil blending plant.
Oh wow. So what made you guys decide to hold such an unconventional wedding at a place like that?
We met through exploring a lot of unconventional places, so like abandoned places and things like that in Singapore. So when it came to finally tying the knot, we eventually wanted to get married in a place that represented how we met.
How much do y'all spend on your wedding?
We spent 3.8k in total.
Wow, that's crazy.
The wedding was a bit small scale, so it's only about 50 people.
Catering was about 600, furniture rental 400, yeah, your dress 200.
$200 from AliExpress.
Wow.
Then my suit, I think it was about $500-600. We spent, I think, about $150 on the portable toilet.
No toilet.
Yeah, because there's no toilet over here.
The videography was entirely free. I think because of the sheer uniqueness of the location, everybody was like, can I just go in and I shoot for free?
The rest more or less went towards the venue rental, so it was a couple $100.
I'm curious, like, how open were your parents to this idea initially and like how did they take it eventually?
For my mum also, she was quite sporting also. Like she even came in like a black gloves and like a black hat. So it looked like she was attending a funeral, which was technically the theme for this event.
So did your friends and family members like still give angbao?
Even though we tell them no need, right? I think they also will still give lah. I've received from this wedding 1 chocolate coin. Okay, then and
so
to $1,000. Can you imagine if I spend like already 250,000 on my wedding, then I open chocolate coin, I think I cry. The thing is that if like that we open, we still can laugh and say, oh, very, very cute. This even though we didn't expect to make any profit or had zero expectations, we actually managed to lah.
Well, how much do you make profit if you don't mind me asking?
$9,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so we managed to use the money and go for a nice honeymoon.
On a more personal question, like what does a wedding mean to you guys?
So I think the traditional Asian wedding is all about, being very grand. Some people may also agree it's more for like the parents or, for the couple that have the fairy tale wedding. But I think for us, it's just to have a good time and to start off on a good note for our marriage.
Okay, so I am currently planning for my own wedding. Do you have any advice for me?
Like for me, I think it's quite important to be true to yourself also.
More importantly, you and your spouse have to have fun and not have the mindset that, I'm doing this for like your boss, your parents, your friends, or for other people. Nothing wrong with also liking the conventional weddings, but I think as long as the couple is happy, yeah.
As wedding costs rise, I honestly don't think it's very reasonable for every couple to be expected to host a traditional wedding banquet. And with that same mindset, I don't think guests should be expected to have to cover the cost of their seats either. But will Singapore's angbao culture really change overnight? Probably not. But for my own wedding, I really hope that guests will just give within their own means and never feel guilty about not being able to give more. Because I wouldn't want anyone to miss a wedding just because of an angbao they can't afford.